Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My god, I've had no sleep whatsoever, but this is going to be a good match. It'll be coming your way very shortly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good morning. Hopefully everything is going well for you. I've had no sleep whatsoever. Well, very little, at any rate. But the show must go on, as always, so it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be Root Gaming versus Axiom Esports. It's gonna be a really good match, I would think. We're gonna be starting off on Neoplanet S. You will, of course, have to give me a moment just to make sure that everything is properly set up. As much as I would love to say, yes, Blizzard always gets the orientation of the players right, they don't. It's like the thing on the starting menu is not indicative at all of anything, which is a little bit irritating to say the least. Regardless, here's hoping the damn thing actually stays stable and doesn't crash on me today. That would be nice. Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. And as I suddenly discover that that's actually the wrong... I don't care at this point. Screw it. This is Roots Drooby. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the northeast of this particular map, which is, of course, Casper Neoplanet S, versus his opponent, Axiom Alicia. He is in the blue trunks playing Protoss to the southwest. Opening up with Drooby. Interesting choice. Not considered, of course, one of the stronger players on Root, and the simple reason for that being he's not Korean. He's also not a WCS champion like, say, Vibe would be. But he was, for the longest time, a very strong player indeed. Extremely competitive. And I haven't had a chance to see a lot of him lately. And the cool thing about Heart of the Swarm is that you see these guys that were really competitive, and they pop up and they do better. Like In Control, for instance, who actually made a deep run in the WCS Premier League qualifier, which is in itself kind of surprising, considering that lately he's been looking more like a caster than a player, and yet he got further than many, which was very impressive. Drooby, not someone that I've had a chance to really see at all, so this could be a gigantic surprise for everybody. So we'll see how this one turns out. Scout coming out here from Drooby. Good time to do that, of course. Pretty small map. Should be able to scout before there's any risk. Check if there's any funny business going on. Check the timing of the gas and things like that. Alicia's going to take 2 gas on 16 supply. And then going to chrono boost that Nexus and get a few more probes out. There's a second barracks coming in. This is actually a proxy, so Drooby's going to open up pretty cheesy. That would make sense in... That actually makes a lot of sense, considering what he is up against in terms of the player. Alicia considered to be one of the stronger players on Team Axiom. Also qualified directly through a very tough bracket, beating half of EGTL to make it into WCS Premier League. Surprise for him is that Alicia actually doesn't scout in this matchup. He doesn't actually scout that much at all, so hiding something doesn't necessarily matter. The question is, does Alicia open up in a safe enough way to really make this work? I think there's a Cyber Corvus coming down. There is no quick expansion whatsoever from Alicia, so I just flat out don't see this 2 Marine approach actually doing anything. That said, it doesn't really matter if it does. It's a hidden barracks, it's only mildly proxy, it can be very easily lifted back into the base, although it does slow down any possibility of an expansion here from Drooby. We'll see how this turns out. I don't really expect this to do anything, especially not with a Mothership core. It's a build that is very old. It's a build that works against extremely greedy play. It doesn't work against a build that is designed to be safe. And I can only imagine upon scouting that Drewby's probably just going to pull back to his base and think about expanding. Because I just don't see a scenario where you kill anything here. I really don't. 6 Marines currently up, and of course we're going to be seeing 8, which is a lot, don't get me wrong. If Alicia stops building any units, then yes, it could trigger that to go. And only 1 sentry certainly isn't going to be enough to keep that away. Drewby is actually rallying forward and getting ready to go. Also, the Mothership Core. This could actually be time just to kill the Mothership Core. Although, considering where this actually is, I think that gets away. Yeah. That's the cool thing about Caspian Planet S is that. But unless Alicia actually maneuvers this properly, then the Marines could intercept and kill it. In fact, it looks like that's exactly what it's looking to do. There's a bunker going down, which Alicia has not spotted, but he has seen a large number of units running across the map. Now, Photon Overcharge is going to be ready here, but Alicia has got to turn away. Doesn't want to be dying to those Marines. Down goes the SCV. Alicia did spot the bunker coming in here as well. Once this completes, he will be able to trigger that Photon Overcharge and then move in with the remainder of his units. Will that actually be enough, though? Photon Overcharge is definitely a hard-hitting thing indeed, but we will see. Drewby's going to lose more Marines here. The shields are going to hold by the looks of it, and I do not, under any circumstances, actually see this working. Photon Overcharge is a really, really good thing. Nexus, I don't think is going to die here, especially not with the Stalker helping out. The sentries there as well, so the bunker will go down. And damage has been taken on the Stalker, but good control here from Alicia. Sentry places really nicely. Sentry and the Stalker, well, definitely the Stalker's going to die there. Sentry is not. Photon Overcharge is ready, and this defense continues to work pretty well. Units are coming out here from Alicia as well. Warp Gate is on the way, so he basically needs to keep holding against this. There's another barracks being added on. The aggression continues. And, of course, there is no Photon Overcharge this time around. Shields are starting to regenerate, but does Alicia actually have enough to hold up against this? He needs more units. He's building 2 more Stalkers now. He's got to hold on until the Stalkers come out. He doesn't have enough units to actually stop this. If Drewby kills his Nexus, this will actually be fantastic. And he may very well have the units he needs to do that. Bring in the Mothership Core. Another Stalker coming in here as well. Sentry placement. And Drewby moves in and is going to kill some probes here as well. Not too many, but Alicia now has what he needs to hold against this pressure. The ultimate result of this is 2 workers killed, a Nexus that is very much alive, and 19 units killed by Alicia with a loss of 2. Which, I think, as you can see, means that that aggression was a complete and total failure. And as a result, Drewby is a little bit behind, but not by much. He got his SCV down at a good time, but he has delayed a lot of things, like he's delayed his tech. The Stalkers are now going to come on the field and going to say hi, hi. The Marauders are now up, however, so Drewby's really smart. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He didn't quite stop that bunker from going up, which means that Alicia can't really be aggressive here. So Drewby getting his timing crisply together and prepared for the counterattack. Nice. Very, very good for Drewby there. Does delay some tech. As I said, Stim has only really just started, and that is not going to be done before 10 minutes, which is a pretty late Stim. There is no sign of a factory going down. He's put down an engineering base, getting +1. He's putting down another barracks. So, big 4 barracks build, and no sign of medevacs. What this means here for Alicia is that he can safely tech, and he is actually choosing to go Templar, which is an interesting choice. With a lack of medevacs, this works really well. Colossus could work too, but even then, if you can get a couple of Vikings out, it can work pretty well. I think that Templar is actually a pretty good idea here. Very much so. You don't really have any means whatsoever of stopping your opponent from doing that. Oh, this is critical. That scan actually missed the Templar and the second forge there. Or is that actually the first forge? Yes, that's the first forge. Missing the Templar is probably the biggest deal. That would have been a huge tell. Drewby does not necessarily know what tech he's up against. He knows about Templar archives, but that could be a misread. That could mean there's DTs. He could think there's Dark Shrine down. He could also think there is Blink or Charge Tech coming in. Charge Tech is coming in. Oh, man, Alicia's wrapping the Gateway production up now. He's going to go up to a full-on 7-gate Storm composition against the 2-base Terran that doesn't actually have medevacs. That's a pretty big deal. Upgrades will be done, at least in terms of Combat Shield and Stimpak. Combat Shield is vital in this composition to actually survive, but it's going to be really difficult. 4 barracks versus 7 gates versus Storm and versus +2 armor with a Marine-heavy composition. That's tricky. Drewby manages to pick off the Observer, which is an absolutely fantastic move for him. And Drewby's actually rolling out here as well. This actually could be really bad for Alicia if he gets caught out here, and it looks like he's going to. He needs to get some good sentry placement in here to make sure he doesn't lose too many units. He's going to lose one Stalker at least. Guardian Shield is up. Here comes the Storm, and one Templar going down. Second Templar going to die as well. These units are very badly injured, but Drewby actually gets out there into the middle of the map in a position where Alicia can't actually do anything. His army is not big enough to beat this. There is another Storm coming in from that Templar, and these units are, of course, very, very low on HP. There is the Mothership Core ready to pop that Photon Overcharge, which is going to basically kill one at a time. But if Drewby actually gets this Nexus, which it looks like he will, that's still a big deal regardless. Really nice snipe. And that allowed him to take advantage of the damage that was done earlier. Of course, the army dies, but that doesn't actually matter all that much. That was a good trade to kill that Nexus. The question is now, can he hold up against the counterattack? That's really what Alicia has to do now, is do that big 7-gate counterattack and kill Drewby outright. Drewby's actually taking a third base, which is nice and greedy. But can he stop this counterattack? There are 2 bunkers down. There are plenty of Marauders, but not a lot of Marines. So a Zealot heavy charge composition, which is exactly what Alicia's doing here, is going to be absolutely fantastic against this. If he gets an Archon in the mix, which he is building, then this should barrel right through. Drewby's going to have to pull off some pretty exceptional defense. Medivacs are still not up, and Alicia's going to hit right before the Medivacs. Here come the charging Zealots. Storm down on the main army as well. One bunker goes down, second bunker going down, second Storm pushes that army all the way back. And now the Natural is under grave threat. Another Storm. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Look at that. Alicia just obliterated the mineral line. Storm lands as the retreat comes in. And at that point, when your economy takes so much damage, I have to wonder if that Nexus going down even matters. Alicia has completely taken over this natural expansion. Is going to kill everything in it. Doesn't know about the third base. There is a... Oh, actually, no, does he? No, he doesn't know about it. And there is a counter drop coming in. That was spotted on the way in, so we'll need to see some good defense here from Alicia. Make sure he doesn't warp in everything at the front. Alicia's looking to charge up some more Storm here as well, and should be able to land that right there on the ramp. This Medevac is almost out of energy. It could, of course, get feedbacked as well. Quick stim coming out here. There's plenty of Storm and Archon available, so I don't really see this doing anything. This should have been spotted. Yeah, it has. There's actually Templar and Zealots available to clean this up, so this will not be a problem. There goes the feedback. Out goes the Medevac. And this Cannon Nexus might actually kill it. Ah, so close. So close. Drewby's going to be able to make a drop of this here. And unless Alicia responds, it's going to do some damage. In the meantime, though, up the ramp Alicia goes. Where does he stop? Nobody knows. Storm goes down. There's no Medevacs available. There's barely any army here for Drewby. Alicia doubling the army supply of his opponent. A big Storm coming down again, which obliterates the remainder of the army. This drop will get cleaned up, and GG. Alicia takes the first game in this Best of 9 series. Drewby opening with an aggressive build, which did kind of work in certain respects, but it did delay everything. Notice how late that Medevac tech was. There were no Medevacs on the field by the time that attack hit. And that's disastrous against Storm. Really, really is. You just can't stick around in that situation without Medevacs. So a brave effort by Drewby, but Alicia takes that first game in convincing fashion. We'll see whether or not he can continue this run after this break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the next game? I certainly am, and we're going to be going into it right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Daybreak. It's my pleasure to bring you Rootcat. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the southwest of this particular map versus his opponent, who is currently up one game in this best-of-9 team series. It is Axiom Alicia in the blue trunks, playing Protoss to the northeast. Root is bringing out some of their American talent. And Katz is a really interesting one to bring out as well, because you would think, Katz is just a team owner, what can he do? Actually, Katz played freaking good StarCraft, especially in Heart of the Swarm. He has some really interesting builds, and that can be quite dangerous, especially against Protoss. He is a guy that likes to use Swarm Host, and Swarm Host is a unit which is actually quite difficult to deal with if you happen to be Protoss. That can be a gigantic pain in the ass. So, the question is, how do you deal with it? The annoying thing about dealing with Swarm Hosts for Protoss is that Swarm Hosts are borrowed units, and all of the Protoss detection that could actually find them is flying. Yeah, it's in the air. So either use an Oracle, which dies in about a second if it's anywhere nearby, or you use an Observer. And if you pop an Overseer over those Swarm Hosts, it can actually be very, very difficult to dislodge them because the detection can be constantly killed. Combining Swarm Hosts with some Hydralisks, for instance, is something that I've seen Cats do, and it can be extremely effective. Quick scout coming in right here from Cats. Wants to check out exactly what his opponent is doing. No funny business from Alicia. He's not really known as a funny business player. He's favoring a lot of 2-base, really powerful timings right now, which a lot of people are really struggling against. But in the situation where he's not able to pull that off or doesn't feel like it's a good idea, he will happily just roll forward and play 3 or 4 bases and just power up the Colossus deck. It's more of a Crank-esque build. Crank is playing this big 3-base style right now that is very, very upgrade heavy. Whereas Katz, on the other hand, is going to be dealing with Alicia. Unless, of course, he beats Alicia, in which case he may very well end up against Crank. Although, I can't imagine that Axiom would want to send out another Protoss if Alicia were to lose this particular match. Alright, a little bit of a different build here from Alicia. He's only going 1 gas, so he's powering his economy forward. I would expect his expansion to come down any moment, and here it comes. With the hatchery first play here from Katz, there isn't really a huge amount of risk that we're going to be seeing any early aggression. He is, however, still mining gas, which interests me. We'll see if he stops mining around 100 and see if he grabs speed immediately or if he pulls something else out entirely. There is the 100 gas, and Katz has pulled everything out except for this 1 worker. What that means is 99% of the time he wants this lair timing, where when this 100 gas ticks over, he's going to build a lair. And with 1 drone in place, it's a pretty cool timing to have. So, that's actually very Wings of Liberty-esque here from Katz, so nothing out of the ordinary here. In the meantime, Alicia with the pylon down on the lower ground. Mothership Core is now out and on the field. Of course, versus Zerg, there's very little risk of using that Mothership Core as scout, unless your opponent is going for some really, really early pressure, which is not happening. Katz has only built 2 links, and since Alicia, I think Alicia knows the timing. Yeah, he did scout it, so he's really not that concerned. That means this Mothership Core can kind of be annoying. It can poke in here and there. Thankfully, for balance purposes, the Mothership Core does only attack ground. If it attacked air, then it would be the worst thing ever, because there would be no way that the Zerg would be able to stop the Mothership Core from just killing all of the Overlords. 3rd base is going to get scouted here, so once again, Katz is not going to get too aggressive early on. He is continuing to power his economy. He's going to add a few lings in here and there just for map control. 3 more gateways being added on by Alicia as well, and he's actually using them as a wall-off at the front. This is a forgeless build, and this is something that Alicia has done before. If I recall correctly, Alicia used this against Revival in the WCS NA qualifiers, and this is a really nasty build if it's the same one, because it hits really hard at a very awkward timing without upgrades, and it is so painful. It is really, really nasty. So we will see what happens there. There is a Roach one coming down here from Cats, but considering it has 3 bases, that could very well be defensive. So he knows pressure is coming in his direction. There is a proxy pylon in place as well, so Alicia is most likely going to start applying 4 gateway pressure to the natural expansion. He's going to use sentries to do it. He doesn't have a robo, which, you know, this could be this big sentry immortal timing, but it's not. Lings are now making their way in here, and there is a bit of a... Well, there is 1 sentry in place, so unless Alicia actually messes this up completely, there is no way that this should really do anything. The Zealot Warping is occurring as well to back this up, and his opponent knows. Cat's is well aware of what's coming in. Question is, can he make anything out of it? He actually missed the army, but he did see the proxy pylon there. He will turn around, and those Lings don't get trapped here by Alicia, which is good news, and... However, he's going to have to deal with the pressure that's coming into his 3rd base right now. With a lot of sentries in play and some zealots, he might very well be able to snipe this base. That force field was nice because it allows for the queen to be trapped. There are no upgrades here, so the zealots aren't as effective against Zerglings. I don't know if Katz is going to be able to hold this. Maybe he can. He gets a good surround here on the sentry. He's going to have to see some sentry play being done here. If the force fields don't go down, that was a wasted sentry right there. Dealing with the queen, more pressure coming in, more warpins coming in as well. Alicia just goes right for the throat here. Zealot versus Roach is usually a terrible idea, but it is working out pretty well here. There are enough numbers, and the 3rd base is now under threat. That last Roach is now going to fall. Another queen pops out here, which is actually going to... No, maybe? No, it's not going to get a sentry. Time warp placed down because Alicia thought maybe, just maybe, that queen actually gets the kill, but it doesn't. This is good control here by Alicia, actually. Really, really good. Great surround, however, by Katz. Is able to take down yet another unit, and down that goes.